Hello guys, so in this long overdue episode of Sam's Motor Machine, we're going to be taking a look at the used market for Range Rovers in the UK. Mainly we're going to be focusing on the L322 and what you can get for your money, but we might take a look at the newer models as well and see what's coming our way. So as most of you guys will know, I'm now based in the Republic of Ireland. And suffice to say, the used car market here is a totally different kettle of fish to what you guys have in the UK. So as most of you guys are based in the UK from what the YouTube demographics tells me, this video is going to be based on the UK market. So I'll have to do my best not to get too jealous at the prices and the availability of all those amazing cars over there in the UK. And I might do a future video based on the Republic of Ireland's very strange and expensive market here in the future. So watch this space for that video. So anyway, my car was infamously known as the cheapest 4.4 TDV8 Range Rover in the UK for quite a while. But that was about 3.5 years ago now, and the market has changed considerably since then, so it's no longer the cheapest 4.4 TDV8 in the UK, sadly. It's also no longer in the UK, so we kind of had to change the name anyway. Back then, in December 2020, I paid £6,700 for the Range Rover, which was an absolute steal at the time, and it was some £3,000 or £4,000 less than the average going rate for a decent 4.4 TDV8. It was pretty high mileage at 189,000 miles, but it did have full Land Rover service history and one owner from new. Suffice to say though, whilst it hasn't been flawless, I think it's been more dependable and more reliable than anybody would have predicted back then in 2020. And it's just gotten back from a 3,000 mile round trip around Europe where it performed absolutely faultlessly. So yeah, I would say on balance it's probably the best car purchase I've ever made. So that's my car, and if you are new to the channel, you can head back into my video library and you can see all kinds of different upgrades and repairs that we've done over the last 3.5 years. But the point of this video is to look at what's available on the market now and see what your money gets you if you're in the UK looking to buy an L322 at this very moment. So let's load up the online marketplaces and see what's available. So the first marketplace we're going to look at is eBay, and eBay is one of my absolute all-time favourite online marketplaces ever. I've been a member of eBay for probably 20 years, and it pains me to say that in Ireland they just do not use it like we do in the UK. There is technically an ebay.ie site, but it's completely dead. There's almost nothing on it at all. For whatever reason, people here in Ireland choose to use Done Deal and adverts.ie instead of eBay, which is really sad for me because as I say, I absolutely love it. I've got loads of happy memories of me and my dad buying cars and selling cars on eBay. All kinds of stuff over the years we've bought and sold. It's such a good resource in the UK, even with all of their ever-increasing fees. But yeah, so let's take a look. I'm just going to type in Range Rover 4.4 TDV8, because that's the model that I'm going to be focusing on, at least initially anyway. And we'll see what pops up. So first one on the list is this spares or repairs one, actually. That looks interesting. 3 hours left, under £2,000 still. That is interesting. You don't often see the 4.4 as spares or repairs. Let's see if we can see why in the pictures. So it looks like similar colour black to mine. Got a bit of a scrape on the door here. I wonder if that's the spares or repairs part, whether there's more. 60 plate Vogue SE, so higher spec than mine. Looks like the mirror is broken on that side as well. A nice black interior and the piano black trim. So triple black, not really my first choice when it would come to choosing a colourway for my L322. I'd always prefer a bit more of an interesting colour combination, but some people like this. Got the little media remote in the centre console in the back there, that's interesting. So it's got the TVs in the headrests, and this is your control for it, which is pretty cool. There you go, there's the TVs. Nice stitched leather on the Vogue SE. Here's that rear wheel arch closer up. Bit of a scrape, bit of a hole almost in the door there. It seems like it's rubbed through. Had a big abrasion against something. And that door, yeah, pretty bad. Needs respraying really. Front wing as well. So that whole side of the car is pretty much scraped. Now, if that's the only reason that this is going for nearly £2,000 with 3 hours left, that could be pretty interesting. Let's see what it says. Okay, so no, there are some faults as well. Okay, so selling our Range Rover for spares repairs after serious electrical fault. Car suddenly lost all power while driving, nothing worked at all. AA tried a new battery, had it towed to work, and it's been there ever since. Been told by a mechanic it could be ECU fried or something chewed some wires. We live in countryside, but I don't really know, hence spares or repairs. Now, this car's probably going to be sold, well, it's definitely going to be sold by the time you guys see this video, but straight away, the first thing that's telling me is that could be an alternator failure. The symptoms he's described there, the car suddenly losing all power and nothing working, is the exact symptoms you get on these cars when the alternator goes shorts out, basically, which is exactly what happened to my car. Exactly the same symptoms. So if somebody who's purchasing this knows that, they could have a really good bargain here. So mechanically, never had a single fault. Mechanically, gearbox, engine, etc., absolutely solid. It was really nice to drive. MOT in November 2023. A few advisories, 140,000 miles, so not too high. And sounds like it's gone through an MOT without too much issue recently. Yeah, so those scrapes and the new alternator, sounds like it would be, if you sorted those out, you'd have basically a nice looking and good running 4.4 TDV8. So, I mean, is that a bargain? Well, we'll find out once we look at other cars that don't need this work doing. But £2,000 to me sounds like an absolute bargain at the moment. Even if it went for 2.5 or 3, by the time it's finished in 3 hours' time, that could be a really interesting one to look at. In fact, we'll come back in 3 hours and I'll see what it goes for. So let's have a look back at the list and see what else we've got popping up. So we've got next one on the list, we've got a Baltic Blue 4.4 TDV8. It's one of my favourite colours to have this car in. That looks stunning. First picture I'm seeing here. That looks really, really nice. Gorgeous colour. I don't know why anybody would have picked black over this when it was new. That looks amazing to me. I'm seeing this rear tailgate looks like it's been rattle canned, which is a bit of a shame. That looks like it's been painted very badly. I don't know if you'll be able to pick that up in the video, but maybe they'll have a closer picture. But it looks like they've probably done a rust repair. Bit of a chip on the bumper there. We've got the heated and cooled seats, which you can tell by these 2 extra knobs here. On the lower spec cars like mine, you just have the heated seat button inside the climate control buttons at the top here, but this one is a bit higher spec. You've got the surround view cameras as well, which is quite a rare option. So this was pretty well spec'd out, this car. You've got 5 cameras around the car, which was basically one of the first cars to ever have this kind of a system. So that's pretty nice to see. Nice blue leather interior, I like that very much. Might not be to all tastes. And then we've got, you can see in the back here, hopefully they'll have a closer picture, but here we go. These controls on the doors, again, another very rare option. So you've got heated and cooled rear seats as well, and the rear seats are electrically operated. So that is a really, really nice option. Something you don't see on a lot of them. Dual zone climate in the back, which is very nice as well. So I think this also means that this car would have the rear air conditioning package as well. So some cars will have actually an extra aircon condenser and system in the back here, so that you've got true 4-zone climate control. Whereas on my car, the Vogue, you just have the dual zone in the front and then a single zone in the rear. So yeah, again, another nice option. Looking on the steering wheel, here's another tip for you guys. If you're looking at these cars, if you see this little knob at the side of the, or switch at the side of the steering wheel here, kind of behind the main controls, that tells you this car's also got the radar cruise control package as well. So that's the automatic cruise control as opposed to the standard cruise control, which just has these 2 buttons on the wheel itself. So yeah, again, another really nice option. So yeah, looks like a pretty highly spec'd car, this one. But the original tow bar, which is the removable one here. This picture's upside down for some reason. And then you've also got a solid drop hitch as well, which is what I've got on mine now as well. So nice to have both options. Boot liner looks good. And yeah, so here's that tailgate. So someone has painted this top tailgate pretty badly. They've not put the badges back on either. And that's a bit of a letdown. It's probably because it was rusty, almost certainly because it was rusty, like mine is going at the moment. I need to sort that out at some point. But yeah, that's a bit of a shame. It hasn't been done properly, and this paint looks pretty bad, to be honest. So that's really the only letdown on the whole car that I can see. This front tyre looks a bit bald as well on the outside edge. They do tend to do this over time, but it could indicate he probably wants tracking done as well. But yeah, overall, pretty nice. He wants £9,500 for it. It's at 6.7 at the moment, with 1 day, 21 hours left, 112,000 miles. And it looks like in here he's got a nice list of all of the services and things that he's done over the time that he's owned the vehicle, which looks pretty comprehensive. 2 gearbox flushes is always a good sign, especially when it's only on 112,000 miles. That's pretty good. Oil cooler replaced, top plenum cleared out, alternator, drive belt, suspension arms, discs and pads, airbags, rain sensor. So yeah, plenty of work done on it. As I say, it's just a shame about that tailgate, but other than that, this looks like a really nice high-spec Vogue SE, which actually probably has a higher spec than most of the autobiography ones that you'll see on here, or definitely the Westminsters. So yeah, that's a really nice high-spec car, and nice colour as well. We've got a Range Rover Sport here, which is advertised as a 4.4 TDV8, which is just totally wrong, so don't even bother looking at that. That's an L405, so that's an SDV8, not a TDV8. Here's a Westminster, 10k for that. Not particularly interesting. If I was looking for one, I probably wouldn't be looking at a Westminster. I quite like the grey colour, but they're not really particularly anything special. Again, if I was looking for one now, I think I would probably be looking at a Vogue SE or a autobiography. So let's have a look at this 8 grand 4.4 autobiography, 61 plate. So let's see what we got with this one. So tinted windows, and it looks like Santorini black, with black interior and walnut trim by the looks of this. Yeah, pretty nice. 144,000 miles. Surround cameras again, so another. And this has also got the rear seat controls as well. So yeah, another highly spec'd car. Rear seat entertainment and the electric heated and cooled rear seats. But I think if you look at this one, yeah, so you'll see this is the normal controls for the rear climate. So there's a single zone with a fan and temperature control for the whole rear. So that previous car definitely had the extra dual zone package in the back. Nice autobiography touches are this leather headlining, pretty nice. And you also get these rear vanity mirrors as well, which you don't get on the lower spec cars. What else have we got that we can point out? Autobiography, yeah, generally just has nicer trim all round. You can see these door cards, which are actually the same that I've got on my car, with the leather stitching on the door cards. That's an autobiography thing. Here's your rear seat entertainment, all your documents. And you can see on this car, the tailgate looks pretty much immaculate. It does start bubbling underneath, so you can't always tell whether it's going to start bubbling or not, but this one looks pretty good. Nice autobiography wheels. They look really sharp and clean. Yeah, overall that's a lot of car for 8 grand. 144,000 miles, fresh MOT, service history. Yeah, very nice. So carrying on, got Overfinch here. So 14 grand, they're asking top money for this in today's market. 14 grand for a L322 is pretty much as high as it gets, so this better be good. Looks nice on the outside. I quite like the Overfinch front bumper on these. Looks very chunky. Side skirts as well, and the rear bumper with the exhaust pipes and the little roof spoiler as well. It looks quite cool. I've always wanted to see what one of these would look like that's been kind of off-roaded up a little bit, so maybe some all-terrain tyres and smaller wheels with all of this Overfinch pack. I think would look pretty awesome, so perhaps a project for somebody out there. But yeah, it looks nice. High spec again. 115,000 miles. It's got the deployable side steps as well by the looks of this. That's a pretty nice option. Interesting Overfinch style chunky steering wheel, like kind of a sports steering wheel. That's nice. Something you don't see all the time. Got the rear entertainment as well on this one, but you don't have the electric rear seats or the dual climate by the looks of this, so it's missing a few bits and pieces. But yeah, I mean, if that's your style, Overfinch. 14 grand is a lot though. I don't know whether that body kit basically, which is essentially all it is, the body kit and the steering wheel, is worth paying that extra, because I think if this was a normal Vogue, you'd only be looking at, say, 8 or 9 grand, so pretty big, margin on that. 14,000 for a Westminster. It's quite low mileage, 95,000 miles, but again, I don't think you should be paying that much for an L322 in this today's market. This is more like it. 6.5 grand for a Vogue. This will be a fairly basic spec car like mine, I'm imagining. Looks very similar in spec actually. That looks like Sumatra Black even, same as mine. And somebody has probably changed the wheels on this, because it wouldn't have come with those 20s from a standard, I don't think, unless somebody specced it as an option, I guess. Has a Vogue SE badge actually. So it's listed as a Vogue, but with a Vogue SE badge. We'll be able to see by spec on the inside, hopefully. So yeah, it's probably a Vogue SE, this one. Looking at the seats, yeah, so they're cooled seats. They've listed it as a Vogue, but it's actually a Vogue SE. So yeah, nice interior with the contrasting leather in the door cards. I quite like that. 6.5 grand, 130,000 miles. Full service history. Yeah, pretty good. So that shows you the kind of value that's out there now. 6.5 grand for a, a straight, clean, average miles Vogue SE. That's kind of giving us a good base benchmark for what the prices are all going to be like on these cars. So here's another blue one, 7 grand. It's nice. This again has had the tailgate sorted on this one by the looks of it. It seems like all of them are starting to go now. It's really common to see them with a repainted or replaced tailgate. Vogue though, this one, so one of the lower spec ones like my car, but a nice colour combination with the cream and the blue, the Buckingham blue on the outside. So yeah, nice. 7 grand from a dealer. So there we go, another interesting one. 4 grand, spares or repairs. Let's see what's wrong with this one. So this one has had some big bad boy 22-inch wheels put on, and it looks like there's some kind of an issue with the step going on here, probably a little bit of rust going on there. Someone stepped on it and it's given way. We've got a video on this one, so what have we got? It's a running video. Sounds alright, sounds about the same as mine. Not showing anything.
Oh, did you got the bird shit?
Oh, it's got bird shit on it apparently. Take some money off for that. Maybe that's why it spares or repairs. There is some warning lights on the dash there that I can see. He's not mentioned those. I saw something flash up on the dash there. We'll see if that's mentioned in the description. But something, looks like something to do with hill descent control, possibly. Let's continue looking at the pictures. Yeah, it's missing its front grille for some reason, which is a bit strange. Perhaps it's had a bit of a crunch. Overall looks okay, a bit grubby inside. Okay, so let's see what he says in the description. Selling for spares repairs. Good point inside. The engine and gearbox are brilliant, starts and runs and drives fine. Drove it 30 miles yesterday to garage. Overall bodywork isn't too bad, interior is okay. Full service history, oil cooler's been replaced. Okay, so get the car's decent. So bad points, it's coming up with P006A fault code and in limp mode. Does have either a battery drain or requires a new battery. Side steps need removing. Bonnet cable needs fitting. Cables are all there along with grille. Listing it as spares or repairs. Either someone a bit handy with these or can break it and fetch 5k for engine alone. Okay, so it's saying it's got a fault code, P006A. I'll have to look that up, see what that is. So P006A is something to do with the mass airflow sensor or basically the boost side system of the engine. So that could be a sensor, but it's probably more likely on this, it could be a split manifold, unfortunately, or a boost leak. So it might just be a simple boost leak, might be one of the rubber donuts. It might be one of the rubber pipes that joins the donut to the inlet manifolds that's split. That's quite a common fault on these. But it could also be that the manifolds themselves are split. So potentially a bit of work to be done on this one. And he says it has a battery drain or it requires a new battery. Well, it probably just needs a new battery. These cars are pretty heavy on batteries. You probably want to be replacing them at least every 3 years, something like that. They're very, very heavy on their battery, and that's basically just one of the things about owning a Range Rover. One of the first things you want to do is make sure it's got a good battery on it. So yeah, 4 grand, potentially quite cheap, really. It looks a little bit rough in terms of the interior. I mean, this seat definitely seen better days, and the leather needs a really good clean on the inside. It's got some big wheels on it, which I'm not a fan of. I would be putting them back to a standard 20 or 19-inch wheel. And it looks like somebody had to take the grille off to get the bonnet open, so a little bit of work to be done there as well. 4 grand, potentially a good buy, but you could probably find something better. It doesn't need as much work, or something that's in better condition to start off with. So see what else we've got. So we've got a white that looks a bit chavved up, 2012. It's a late 4.4 TDV8, but yeah, I'm not a fan of how that one looks. I'll probably slide right past that one. Let's have a look at this light gold coloured one. I like this colour, and I like the fact it's still on its standard 19-inch wheels as well. Let's have a look at the pictures first. So Looks like it's going to be a Vogue with those wheels on. Yeah, looks like a Vogue from the badge. I can't get over how small the standard wheels and tyres look on these cars when they're completely standard, compared to mine anyway. Got the parcel shelf in there, which is unusual to see. These are almost always lost or stuck in someone's garage. Standard black interior it looks like, or grey actually, is that? Maybe a dark grey? I think it's black. With a walnut trim, and yeah, the basic heated front seats, no cooling. These are actually more reliable than the heated and cooled seats. The heating in these doesn't tend to fail, but the Peltier effect module in the cooled seats tends to give problems over time, and also because they use an air duct to direct air through the seat, that ducting can also fail as well. So it's a fairly easy fix, but they do seem to have problems. Again, I like this colour. A lot of people won't like that colour, the kind of racing gold, but yeah, I quite like that. 8 grand, 117,000 miles. Fully comprehensive service history and exceptional throughout, so yeah, that looks pretty good. A little bit higher on the price, but you know, if you want something with a bit more of an interesting colour, maybe you would plump for that one. So here we go. This is one of my favourite colours for the Range Rover L322. This kind of, absolutely love this colour on this car. If I could choose any of the standard colours for my car, I think I'd probably go for this. I know I'm really, really weird. Some people call this colour poo brown, but I am a big fan. So let's see if we've got any interior pictures. Not too many. So we seem to have either an ivory or cream leather. Looks pretty good. It's a Vogue. It's not a high spec car, but decent. I like the colour. That's the main thing I like about that one. 9 grand, probably a bit high compared to most that we're seeing so far. So here we go. This is an interesting one. £4,700, and it doesn't say spares or repairs. This is potentially a running car that's working for £4,700, so that could be interesting. So black, guessing it's a Vogue. Got a video. Doing a bit of a walk around. It's running as well, sounds nice and quiet. Yeah, it looks good overall. Let's have a look at the pictures. A few little marks around the body, little chip on the bonnet there. Rusty tailgate, which looks to have already been repaired at some point because it's missing the lettering. I think the badge is also in a weird position and it's missing the Vogue or Vogue SE trim as well. So it looks like the whole tailgate's probably been repainted, but it is starting to rust again already, so probably not done very well. 193,000 miles, so this is the first one that's actually anywhere near to the mileage of my car that we found. Vogue SE, by the looks of it. So cooled seats, nice interior colour. Looks good. Looks like we've got some nice Continental all-season tyres. Engine bay. They're showing the arches as well because this is another area that likes to rust on the L322. I do like this interior colour. I'm a fan of that. That looks lovely. And then nice clean boot with a boot liner. It's always a good thing to have. Yeah, so why is this so cheap? 4,700. It must just be the mileage. No service history. Okay, so I have serviced it myself. The previous owner was a garage. They had it serviced. So he's saying, yeah, how has it got to this mileage without being serviced if you're worried about it? So yeah, so I mean, it's probably fine. And it probably has been serviced, but for whatever reason, there isn't a service history with it now. Potentially, if you're interested in this car, you probably could go and speak to the Land Rover dealership that it was supplied by, and you might be able to find out through them whether it's got any service history with them. The likelihood is that it had at least a few Land Rover services when it was brand new, and there might have been a gap, you know, for quite a while if it was owned by a garage who were doing it themselves. But overall, you have to kind of take these things on a one-to-one kind of basis. You'd have to find out from him, you know, the garage that owned it, did they actually service it? Is there any evidence, you know, did they write in it under the bonnet any stickers anywhere to say when they last changed the oil, things like that, filters. Just actually physically have a look at the air filter. Does it look like it's been, you know, replaced recently? And overall, drive the car and see how it feels, sounds, make a judgment for yourself. And again, this is a classified ad, so 4,700 is his asking price, but you could probably get it a bit lower than that. could be quite good value. I mean, if we compare it to my car 3.5 years ago, this is definitely better value, obviously. £4,700, same mileage, less no service history, which my car does have, but the overall condition of this car looks a lot better than what mine was in, just from the pictures. The paint and everything looks better than my car. So, yeah, potentially there's lots of good bargains to be had by the looks of this. That's that one. Let's have a look. Got a couple more expensive Vogue SEs. I'm not going to look at those. They're probably not particularly interesting. I'm looking for bargains. I'm looking for interesting bargains. 13,000 with a low mileage, 84,000 miles. Yeah, I mean, there's probably not going to be that many around with miles that kind of low anymore. So yeah, if you really want a low mileage one, you've probably got to pay up for it. Here's one which is being shown as a picture directly in BCA car auctions, and it seems to be overpriced as well. So we won't be clicking on that one. I mean, there's still, considering the prices are meant to have come down a long way, and in some cases they seem to have come down a long way. For instance, we've seen a few that have been under, 7 or 8k. There's still quite a few for sale over the 10k mark, 11, 12, 13 grand, which seems like a lot to me now in this day and age. These cars at minimum are 12 years old now, so you'd have thought they'd have come down a long way more than this. And you don't know if these cars are actually selling or not. They might just be sat on here for a long time, not being sold. So I've got one here for 4 grand. Looks a bit chavved up again, and it says engine knocking. So they want it 4 grand even with the engine knocking. But it does have, looking at this, is this the design? I think this is the design pack body kit, they call it. So you've got this chunky rear bumper and front bumper and these side skirts as well. So I think this is a Designo pack car. So 4 grand though with a knocking engine. I mean, that's pretty unusual to see on the 4.4 TDV8, but these engines are not cheap to replace or repair. So you'd be talking at least 4,000 or 5,000 minimum, even if you're fitting it yourself, just to get that sorted. So probably not great value. So it looks like that's about it for, I've just seen this one here actually before I go off, £22,000 for a 4.4 TDV8. It is very low mileage, 47,000 miles, but that's a lot of money to pay for an L322. It's a nice one, to be fair. Autobiography design pack is probably about as high spec as you're going to get, though it is missing the rear electric seats. So that seems to be about it for eBay in terms of interesting ones. Let's move over to Auto Trader and have a quick look on there. But before we start digging into Auto Trader here, I just want to have a quick word with you guys about our sponsor this week, which is Readly. I want to show you guys an app I've been using this week called Readly. So what Readly basically is a digital magazine subscription service that gives you access to a huge range of different types of magazines, all in one app, all for one monthly subscription price. And if you use my link down below, you can get 2 months free and you can cancel at any time. So you could literally sign up for the trial, cancel it, and then you can use it for 2 months absolutely free. But I have a feeling you probably want to keep hold of it for a bit longer once you see how much stuff there is on here. Now you can install the app on your phone or your tablet like I have here. You can even do it on your laptop or your desktop PC as well, so you can basically read wherever you are. So I'll just hop into the Readly app now on my tablet here and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So you can see that it's recommending me some stuff here based on my interests, but if I head into my content here, some stuff that I've favorited earlier, I can show you guys some of the stuff that I've been looking at. And obviously one of the chief magazines that we'd be interested in as Land Rover owners is Land Rover Owner International. So if you head into here, you can see we've basically got every issue of Land Rover Owner International to about 2014 by the looks of it. So what's that? 8 years, nearly 9 years worth of Land Rover Owner magazines right at your fingertips here, which is awesome. And you can pretty much just flick through it as you would a normal magazine. So we can see all the contents in here, we can pick what articles we want to read. There's some stuff here about an L322 health check article that might be pretty useful for us if we're planning an expedition. It's just really great to be able to just flick through this like a normal magazine, except I don't have to be carrying all these magazines around with me, which is fantastic. So one more thing I really like on Readly is the search feature. So if you go into this, you basically get given a list of categories that you can click through to. But if you search in this search box, so you can either search for titles of magazines or you can search for content itself. So if I put in here Range Rover, it's basically going to give me pages of all the magazines that it has on here that make reference to Range Rover. So, you know, that could be in any magazine. We've got stuff here from Practical Classics, we've got stuff from Land Rover Monthly, Classic Car Buy, we've got a few classified ads coming up here by the looks of it. If there's a specific topic or item that you're looking for information on specifically, you can use that search feature to trawl through the whole world of magazines, which is fantastic. So yeah, don't forget you can use the link down below to get 2 months of Readly absolutely free, and you can cancel it at any time. And yeah, go and check it out. I actually really recommend this. I kind of have a policy on this channel where I don't recommend stuff to you guys that I wouldn't use myself. Readly is definitely something that I would be continuing my subscription to. It's a really good product, I think. Now, as I said, I'm an eBay man through and through. Auto Trader isn't something I've really ever used. I'm not actually sure I've ever bought a car off of Auto Trader. Pretty sure I've always used eBay or Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree back in the day. But yeah, Auto Trader, not so much. So I'm just going to put postcode in here. I have to blur that out. And then we will go to Land Rover, Range Rover. We're not going to put a max price in, but I'm going to put the years from 2009 to 2012. So we've got some cheap-ish looking cars on here straight away, although it is bringing up 3.6s as well as 4.4s. Most of these are 3.6s actually. I actually drove Ben's 3.6 TDV8 Range Rover recently, he's 2009, and I have to say I was actually very impressed by it. Ben's car's also remapped a bit like mine, but yeah, my overall impression is that for most people, the 3.6 is going to be more than enough car. You know, in terms of just average daily driving, you don't really feel that much difference between the 3.6 and the 4.4. It's still a smooth, torquey, powerful diesel engine, and the interior and the rest of the car is more or less the same. So I do love the 8-speed transmission of my 4.4, and it is an effortless torque monster, especially when you're towing, things like that. But I really don't think the 3.6 is going to struggle with any of that kind of stuff either. So I definitely wouldn't rule them out when you're looking. If you're looking at a facelift L322, certainly take the 3.6 into consideration as well. So let's see if we can find any interesting looking 4.4s on here. There's plenty about by the looks of it. Similar sort of price range, 6 grand up to about 10 or 11 seems to be the common range that they're in. For some reason it's given us a Discovery 3 as well. Not sure why that is. Not seeing anything too interesting, although we have just seen a 5-litre V8 supercharged come up. This is the 500 brake horsepower petrol model. So 9.5 grand for a 5-litre supercharged seems cheap compared to the last time I had a look anyway. These were still, last time I was looking, up in the sort of 14, 15 plus kind of range. So yeah, if you really fancy a 500 horsepower L322, you can get one now, it seems, for less than 10 grand. This isn't the cleanest one I've ever seen. There are some scrapes and stuff on the bumper, and generally the paint looks like it could do with a bit of a tidy up, but it's a 5-litre supercharged L322. Got some cameras around by the looks of that. Logic 7, so we're missing the Logic 7 HD, which is surprising on a autobiography. Is it an autobiography? Yes, it is. That's surprising. But it does show you that not all of these cars, not all of the autobiographies have all of the top spec. It's still a choice at the end of the day as to what you put on your car. We've got the two-tone leather, quite cool. I think that's a leather headlining with the extra vanity mirrors in the back. Just a piano black trim, a little bit boring. 6-speed transmission on the 5 litres, so you don't get the 8-speed with the pie-dish control. And I'm not sure entirely why that is, because the 8-speed is definitely up to the power and torque of the 5-litre supercharged, but perhaps they just didn't want to do the work of integrating it. The L322 is already towards the end of its life, and the 5-litre supercharged probably doesn't make up a huge number of sales compared to with the diesels. So maybe they didn't bother doing all that work to integrate it, but yeah, still perfectly fine gearbox, a 6 HP. Showing all the TV functions for some reason. So yeah, there you go, 10 grand for a 5-litre supercharged. 100,000 miles, it's not even high mileage. There's not much in the way of description here. I don't really know why that is. People on Auto Trader don't seem to do as good of a description. This is a dealer. So, I mean, yeah, that could be a cheap supercar, basically. So yeah, let's carry on having a look. So here we go, 7,000, 5 litre V8 autobiography, 7 grand, 140,000 miles, 59 plates. There's one of the earlier 5 litre facelifts, but 7 grand. This is a private seller. Now I'm telling you now, this would probably be tempting for me if I was in the UK right now. I wouldn't be choosing a black one if I had a choice, but I mean, so we've only got a few pictures here, can't really tell much from them, but it looks like, you know, standard autobiography spec with the cooled seats. But I mean, that's a lot of power, 510 horsepower for £7,000. I think if you guys can show me another car that's got that kind of power for that little money, I'd be impressed. Santorini black. Yeah, it looks like a reasonably well looked after car. So yeah, if you guys fancy a 5 litre supercar for £7,000, that's got to be a pretty tempting prospect. Got a Cat S1 here for £14,000. That seems like madness to me, even if it is fairly low mileage. So I'm guessing this one is going to be the record for our highest price L322 that we're going to see today. £54,990 for a 5 litre V8 autobiography. But I can already tell this is a bit of a special car because it's an Ultimate Edition. So this will be definitely worth having a look at, just out of interest. It's funny that Auto Trader here is saying this is £34,594 above the market average for a 5 litre V8 L322, which is quite funny. It obviously isn't taking into account the fact it's an Ultimate Edition. But let's have a look at this beast. So yeah, Ultimate Edition wheels there. That was the giveaway. And you've got that design pack body as well. Looks nice so far. So the interior is going to be where this gets really interesting, the Ultimate Edition. And I wish the pictures on Auto Trader were better quality to do this justice, but let's have a look. This wood is absolutely stunning, and I don't think you can get this on any of the other versions of the L322. You'll also notice that as well as the wood in the normal places, we've also got wood along the tops of the doors here, which is just glorious. That looks absolutely beautiful. Got that wood everywhere. So you get these caps on the top of the door cards, which just add an extra load of sophistication to the interior. Logic 7 HD, of course. This is interesting that you get this metal surround for the, or metal effects around for the controls on top of the door as well. That's a nice touch. What else have we got? So cooled seats, obviously. Got the autobiography style leather headlining. All this looks more or less as you'd expect. It also is, I've just realised, left-hand drive, which is very unusual to see for sale in the UK. 59,000 miles, it's done nothing, has it really? And here we go. So this is the business end of the Ultimate Edition L322. You've got this huge centre console with all kinds of stuff going on. So hopefully they're going to show us in the pictures. You'll also notice the backs of the front seats are these special cabinets almost, they look like, but I think these are tray tables for sitting on, for working on, and you know, putting your champagne on and things like that. So yeah, really unusual spec. You've obviously got the seat controls here as well. It looks like you'd normally have the controls down here, but obviously with this big centre console, it's not there, so we've got them on the door instead. More wood on top of the doors in the back, absolutely lovely. And here's that huge console in the back with all these tray tables and all kinds of other things. It looks like this part here, I think it can flip forwards, and then you've got access to a cubby box in the middle here and some controls. So hopefully they've got some pictures. There we go. So, okay, so there's the rear climate controls. So this is for the actual rear climate, so dual zone again. And then you've also got, like I said before, the door controls for the heated and cooled seats. So you've got everything in the back. There's your rear vanity mirrors. Individual rear seats that will recline and slide backwards and forwards on their own, which is very cool, automatically. Just very nice. Yeah, gorgeous. I'd love to have a look at one of these in person, as it really is. It's called the Ultimate Edition, but it really is the ultimate version of the L322, I guess. So yeah, stunning. However, you'll have to decide if it's worth £55,000. That's a lot of money. You can buy a lot of car with that. And this is a lot of car, to be fair, but it's it's certainly a high price for an L322. So it says here £137,000 new. So that's the level of car, and that was back in 2012. So yeah, imagine that today. That would probably be over £250,000 with the amount of inflation we've had over the last few years. Yeah, unusual to see one for sale. And I expect it'll be for sale for quite a while. As cool as it is and nice as it is, it's not exactly going to be many buyers that are going to be in the market for something like that. So yeah, again, there seems to be loads of choice on Auto Trader. There's definitely not a shortage of these cars for sale in the UK. There never was really, but particularly at the moment, it seems like there's a lot on there for sale. So lastly, just before we finish off this video, I just want to have a quick look at Facebook Marketplace, just for a laugh really. Now you can get some serious bargains on Facebook Marketplace, but it is notoriously full of lots of scammers, people that don't respond when you ask them questions, or they respond with lies. Basically, you have to be very, very careful if you're buying on Facebook Marketplace. But you do see some pretty interesting things pop up. So for example, I've just seen this thing here, 2017 Range Rover. Yeah, that's probably going to be bit of work in getting that back on the road again. I'm not entirely sure whether this is a legit listing that somebody's trying to get rid of this burnt shell, which looks to be a L320 Sport, not a 2017, but they want 1,500 quid for it, which seems a little bit steep to me. Anyway, I've put in 4.4 Range Rover TDV8, but for whatever reason, Facebook Marketplace doesn't seem to really listen to what you put in and just gives you whatever it fancies. But let's have a look here. This seems like it might be a facelift TDV8 Range Rover. £3,300, 122,000 miles, full service history. This is a prime example of something that looks like it's probably too good to be true. This is most probably a scam. Another giveaway that it's probably a scam is the really low quality pictures, but also the person that's selling it started on Facebook in 2021, which is a few years ago now, but really who's creating a Facebook account in 2021 that didn't have one already? Surely everybody has a Facebook account by now. Obviously you could say this person's probably could be pretty young, but then why are they selling a 10-year-old Range Rover? Doesn't seem to add up, does it? So this one potentially real. This one's in Enniskillen, so it's actually in Northern Ireland. This one looks like it's been sat for quite a long time. If you look at the front here, you've got lots of greenery on the bonnet. Air suspension's completely flat. The rear tailgate again pretty green and a little bit rusty looking. Yeah, so potentially a bit of a project here in Enniskillen, if anybody's in Northern Ireland. One for £3,500 here in Dartford. This one probably looks legit, looks like to be a used car dealer or something. Got a bit of a video here. Yeah, it does not sound good. So £3,500 for one there. It's been listed for 14 weeks. I'm not really surprised, to be honest. A lot of people don't want the bother of trying to put an engine in one of these cars. £1,000. What do you get for £1,000 on Facebook Marketplace? Braking. Okay, so someone's trying to break that. Lovely Range Rover Classic. Here again, not what I asked for on the search bar, but we'll let Facebook Marketplace off. Actually, I can't even continue looking at this. There's too much rubbish coming up and too many scams. Yeah, my advice: Facebook Marketplace, avoid it if you can. There's really a lot of ways that you can lose your money on here. And when there's so much choice available on Auto Trader and eBay, there's not really any reason to risk Facebook Marketplace unless you know who's selling the car, or if it's being posted via a enthusiasts group and you can see who's selling the car. If they're a well-established member, perhaps that might be a bit safer. But yeah, my advice: stay away from it. So yeah, overall, I'd say it's a pretty rosy picture. If you're looking for a late L322 in the UK, you've still got loads of choice. I think my main takeaway from the pricing seems to be, like I said before, the bottom end of the market has more choice now, so there's more cars around that sort of 3, 4, 5 grand price mark that might need a little bit more work. But the top end and the average seems to be more or less where it was 2, 3, 4 years ago. 10 grand seems to be a pretty average figure, 8 to 10 grand for those kind of well looked after middle mileage kind of cars. And then you still have the crazy kind of 15 plus end of the market as well, where people are asking a premium for their car for whatever reason it might be. So yeah, this has just been a look at the market in the UK. Let me know guys in the comments down below if you guys are looking at buying one of these cars. Where are you looking? What kind of spec and features are you looking for in your cars? I'd be interested to find out. And perhaps I'll do in the near future a buying guide on the L322, things to look out for. I've mentioned some of them here today, a couple of little bits and pieces, but we could probably do a deep dive on all the things that you want to look out for when you go and look at an L322. So yeah, let me know if you enjoyed this type of video. It's something I can do easily and quickly compared to the normal type of content, so this can perhaps be interspersed between the normal mechanicking type of content. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out Readly, our sponsor for this week's video. It's actually a very useful app that last time I advertised for Readly, a lot of people said they got the app and they actually really enjoy it and it's something they're actually using. So yeah, check the link down below for that and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.